Hey, I want to travel to Japan, but I don't have money. What's up? It's the Culture Detective here, investigating your favorite albums. And today I'm going to be doing an album review on the new Mdou Moctar album, Funeral for Justice. So, psych rock band from Niger, which is a country in West Africa, is back with a new album, Funeral for Justice. The music they make is called Tishoumaren, which is apparently the Tuareg word for guitar. And Tishoumaren is essentially a genre of music that blends psychedelic rock, country, blues, and Tuareg folk, which is a kind of folk music that is sung in that area in Tuareg languages, which with the map that I'm looking at right now, is a language that spans between Algeria, Libya, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and some neighboring areas as well. And the particular language that they're singing in on this album is called Tamashek. So here's your little African language lesson, even though I'm not an expert and I literally just learned all that stuff by Google searching like 10 minutes ago. But anyways, a couple years ago, the band released the album Afrique Victime, which I briefly talked about on this channel. I thought it is a really solid album that blends Niger folk music with rock really well. There are some legitimately catchy moments. I love the political and the anti-colonial stance that this album has. And also, so far, there are a lot of anti colonial outcries in art, like music and film, coming from Europe, but not enough coming from Africa, the actual victims of African colonization, thus the title of the album, Afrique Victime. But this time they are back and they lean even harder on the folky elements on the album, and because of that, instrumentally, it is a lot denser and also a bit less rocky. So the music on their new album, Funeral for Justice, in my opinion, is actually less accessible than before. And because of that, I can't help but feel like not being able to enjoy this album as much. That said, though, there are still a lot of very admirable moments on the album. Let's talk about the title track as well as the album opener, which is an immediate rocker with desert blues, skippy rhythms. In my opinion, it feels like a folk song with a touch of drums, but in its core, it is just a folk song. And maybe because of that, chords in terms of chord progressions, it does come off a little bit one note and it does come off a little bit repetitive. So I can't fully get into this music. I don't think it sounds that enjoyable for me, anyways. But that's the musical aspect of it, and it's a little weird for me, an Asian person, to comment on this because I'm more used to other kinds of music. So maybe this is just me, and I'm not necessarily saying that the music is bad or one note or anything. But what I guess stands out to me the most are the lyrics, where right off the bat, Mdou Moctar sings, "Dear African leaders, hear my burning question. Why does your ear only heed France and America? They misled you into giving up your lands. They delightfully watch you in your fraternal feud." And then on the next track, Imuhar, the band continues to commentate on the cultural and the socio-political conditions of the Tuareg people, or maybe just people of Niger. Because the word Imuhar apparently doesn't refer to a person, but it refers to a group of people, the Tuareg people. And musically, they go on to the same folky trajectory, but vocally and melodically, it is a bit more ambitious. They talk a lot about ethnic pride and cultural preservation, which are two things that I really care about for my own culture as well. But yeah, we have lyrics like Imuhar, Imuhar, this shames us. We must confess, wake up one day and our kids can't speak Tamashek. Ouch. I hope my generation and my future generations also speak Cantonese. They can't speak Tamashek nor write it. Imuhar, Imuhar, wherever you are Tuareg. Turbans and camels, symbols of our legacy and pride. Following that, we have the track Takoba, which is much more laid back. We get some quiet, breathy vocals, soft guitar set against hand drums. Again, it's like they're playing the same chord again and again in the same track, so there isn't a lot of dynamic and progression going into it. I love the folky realness of a lot of the tracks, but nonetheless, musically, is it that enjoyable for me? Not really. But I can't say the same for the next track, Sosome Tamachek, which is one of the most explosive moments on the album. In fact, this is the same name of an album and a track they released back in 2017, and that had led me to think that this is a psych rock / country blues revamp of an old Tuareg folk song they recorded and released back in 2017. Afterwards, we have the track Imajiran, which is a more toned down track with more quiet sound, and then we have the Imajiran, these repeated refrains that really repeat a lot. The track Chinta goes into a more similar territory, except this time more instrumentally heavy, and then the track Jalo 1 is a nice interlude that goes into the next track, Oh France, which is one of the biggest moments on the album. Not only does the band directly address France and their barbaric history of colonizing a good chunk of Africa, but also musically it is fantastic with its racing drum patterns, flashy guitar solos. The way the track speeds up at the end is just spectacular. And then the album ends off with the track Modern Slaves, which, despite its title, is actually a pretty sweet sounding ending to the album. The chords feel much more intimate and warm, and the hand claps and the drums have a swaying rhythm to it. So yeah, overall, this is a very interesting album. I wouldn't say it is as enjoyable or more enjoyable than Afrique Victime, but if you're interested in listening to more African music that actually has good and interesting political commentary, check this album out. I'm giving this album a strong 7 out of 10. So have you listened to the new Mdou Moctar album? Comments below, let me know, subscribe if you want more, and thanks for watching.